Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome, everybody, to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Grateful to be with you today. Today, I wanted to talk about love and above. Now, this is a phrase that emanates from the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins and became a phrase that I became aware of through a guest I had on one of my summits. Actually, I'll give a shout out to her because I appreciate her bringing that into the world, a long time ago when she was on one of my shows. Christy Marie Sheldon is her name. Check her out. She's really amazing. Maybe we should have her on the show. Maybe I should reach back out to her. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today. I wanted to talk about this love and above. Now, many of you that are light leaders, light workers, spiritual entrepreneurs, etc., that listen into the show may, you may believe like, well, I'm love, that's my whole thing. I'm totally love and all this sort of thing. Today, what I wanted to do is just really have us check in to where our consciousness most typically may reside and how we can, raise our vibration. Things, of course, that you probably have heard before, but they bear repeating. And so we're going to do that today and help to raise the vibration. We may get some channeling from Jesus and more as part of it, as I am more into Jesus stuff these days. Me and Jesus are doing a program together in 2024. Whenever you're receiving this, I don't know, probably before 2024. And there's probably an upcoming event happening, and it may be in the show notes, so check that out as well. So when we talk about like raising your vibration and power versus force and what was in that book, some of you have read it, most of you have heard of the book, but it's a book that came out 20 some years ago, I believe. I literally have never read the book, but I have reviewed aspects of the book and studied it directly from David Hawkins a little bit at an event I was at. He was talking about it and going through it. And I've gone through it in different ways with different people. And that just never felt fully called to maybe go get the book and go through the book. But who knows? I just go by my guidance on those things. But this whole concept of love and above, it's the idea of, there's this frequency scale. And if you don't know about it, the lowest, so they would measure these frequencies. And I honestly, I forget. Put it in the show notes below for those that may remember. I don't remember how they were measuring these frequencies, but I believe they were doing it through muscle testing. I'm 95, almost 100% sure they were doing it that way. So, but they would calibrate like what frequency was these different energy states or motion states are at. What are they calibrated at? So at the very bottom, what do you think there was? The very bottom. What they had at the bottom was shame. And then above that, I believe, was guilt. And then above that is maybe victimhood or something. And then it just keeps going up and up. I don't have the funnel right in front of me. It's like a funnel thing. And, when you're at shame, it's like a frequency of, they gave it 30 units, 30, 30 something. And then the scale goes all the way up to 1,000, which is enlightenment. At the time, they were saying in a book, 700 to 1,000 is what they were considering enlightenment levels, and almost nobody, reaches that level according to them, because they were literally would test the vibration of various things. So it's like, okay, what's the vibration of money on the planet right now? We could look at the scale going all the way from shame to enlightenment, and then love, being in a higher level of the scale, and see where those frequencies are resonating at. So I thought it would be useful for myself, quite frankly, and for all of us to review this love and above concept, because the idea is we're operating at love and above, and love is a, I think like 3 on that scale. I believe it's 3 notches below enlightenment, 3-ish. So there's love, then there's like I believe it was peace and bliss, and then enlightenment, something along those lines, very close to that. And so you have love, and then to me they just have the two next levels, and then they have enlightenment. I probably would say there's other frequencies, perhaps unity, things like that. Acceptance was on there, but it was down lower than love. So my point, though, is that, love and all the higher qualities we would associate with being one with source, those are the frequencies we want to be in. So, but I like the idea of love and above. Love is the center of your being, spiritually speaking. Now, I get it. Like some of you are, the emptiness is where it's at. I get it. That's fine too. But if you're looking at an energy system, you're going to look at the actual energy, not go beyond the energy and then go into the stillness, into the nothingness. Love is the center of your spiritual being. There's no question in my mind about that anyway, in your energy system, and that's in the heart chakra. So as we're allowing ourselves to get attuned to love, then we have easier access to the next levels. So if the next level is peace and bliss and enlightenment, when we come into love, those next levels are more easily accessible. Now, if you go straight for enlightenment, or go straight for bliss, or straight for peace, or straight for whatever other quality that may be higher or whatever than love, and that would transport you up perhaps into love as well. But I feel like my own sense of it is that we would all do well to master the frequency of love, because you could actually live in a fairly enlightened state, have bliss for yourself, be in a place of equanimity, and be raised in your heart, but not really be that deep love. And I think that's what the world needs right now. We need to be in that deep love, and all those frequencies that may be above the frequency of love. And I think that is the liberation of our being, the evolution of consciousness. It's not necessarily that we have to go to the 50th dimension, we have to transport and ascend to another level where the planet, and then we take the planet with us, or we don't, and we take our bodies with us, or we don't. Although I do believe that there's a reality to that whole thing, people ascending and taking their bodies with them, from a lot of documented stories. But my point is that as we're talking about wanting to see the changes that we're looking for in this world, we've got to allow ourselves to realize this frequency thing, and how unconscious we still are. So I believe, again, many meditators, yogis, etc., healers, blah blah blah, all spiritual teachers, including myself, at times we are going unconscious still, and it's easier to go unconscious now than in the past. It's easier. It's also easier to be connected, I believe, if you actually put attention to it, because I think the connected field is closer for people as well. But that's where we're seeing more polarity in the energy. I believe it's more polarized. There's more the sense of hate, division, shame, whatever, the lower frequency, and then you have more of the higher frequency, and then you have individuals, perhaps, it's the way I see it, is that are operating a higher level of frequency than in the past. Like if it was a split distribution, which it probably isn't exactly, I'm sure, but you had a split distribution between those at love and above and moving towards enlightenment, and you have like those at below, this love level of vibration, and down to shame. I think what you would be seeing is that there's more polarization. So you'd have a whole group that's going more towards enlightenment, perhaps, overall, or at least that's the direction that their soul is being guided to at a minimum, because there's a lot of descension into fear still for a lot of people that are raising at the same time. And then you have like those who are really falling down the frequency and getting more addicted, more depressed, more suicides, more I guess, this is just the way the world is. Just I hope it changes, and powerlessness. And so I think what's going to happen in the days ahead is, again, you're going to see even more polarization. You see more people raising up. And again, it might seem like negative talk, but it's just been so clear. The guidance for me, some of the guidance I get is so clear. It's showing the raising of beings on the planet. It's been this way for a long time, 15 years or more, probably more than that. I wouldn't say 2 decades yet, but it's been a really long time that I've seen this image of this happening. Everything that's been happening in terms of like in a bigger picture way, like seeing the energy polarity that was going to happen. And so there's this dissension that's happening, not descending, but like dissension of vibration. And so we'll see people struggling more than ever before in some cases around us. And then we'll see people who are seemingly getting more free overall. And I think that there's, there are some dangers though, because, we really have to raise and master our energy, because if we continue to dip into those lower frequencies, all it takes is just a short little walk into the lower frequencies. And these days, that could mean maybe a little bit more than before, or maybe increasingly a lot more potentially. You could enter into a non-sovereign state, so to speak, like not connected, not realizing what you're bringing yourself into for your health, your relationships, your family. There's more at risk. There's more. The fascination of our mind is growing as well sometimes right now for many people. How does that show up? We've got AI now. We've got interface technology that can interface with our biology. That'll make our lives easier, better, more efficient, more productivity. We've got the division in the world that calls for something to happen to change it. And thank goodness a lot of us are wanting to just bring our prayers and love first and foremost, on top of other things maybe we can do to help with various world issues. There's so many different ones that show up in our consciousness to address. So we have the opportunity to, serve at love and above for those things in our own life and in the world. And then we also have the opportunity to see ourselves descending down that scale and operating out of this like righteousness that isn't, heavenly. It's I call it, I think pride is on the scale, for example, where you're gonna fight for what you believe is the truth, and there's a fighting sort of energy, which is above, other frequencies. It's getting close. I think it's around the middle of the entire scale, so that's above that. But when you're in pride, again, you're closer to the lower frequencies, and potentially, closer to a fall into fear, shame, doubt. So there's been obviously a lot of shaming going on, right? The minute it's being brought to people's attention, this idea around privilege, you're privileged to live in the United States. You're privileged to be in the first world. You're privileged to be white. You're privileged to be a man. You're privileged to, be a white woman, or you're privileged to be, able to have a refrigerator in your home. You're privileged to be able to own anything. You're privileged, like this idea. So this can be used, for those that are on the, I would say people would say the people in power, but those who are looking towards more on the force side, they're not looking necessarily for the highest good of humanity. They're only reflecting something within the consciousness that we need to address, by the way. But, they've got us, believing different stories and presenting stories so that we get to go unconscious and just do what it is that they want us to do, or be in opposition to what they're talking about, which also brings us into lower frequency. So either way, they win. You want to fight it? Great. You want to get on board with this and go into pride? Great. Happy either way. That is perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. And like 90% of the time, these ideas win in that way. There's either pride or there's lower frequencies going on around it. I hate this idea. I hate what's going on in the world. I'm afraid of what's happening. Just watch your language. Just not just how you're feeling only, but like that's part of it. But also like look at what your thoughts are saying. Like it's showing you where your consciousness is. So when people say, like when someone says like reports, like you have the media, you have scientific papers, you have studies, you have intellectuals at universities, you've got podcasts like mine, you've got experts, you have, I don't know, you have all these different, politicians, you have leaders people look up to, you have people maybe in your community that people kind of look up to or have status and worldly power or whatever. Like, so we look and then we hear the voices and we hear what they're saying. And what happens is, that those that are in the force kind of place is they're looking at how can we use the overall system of influence to, how can we best utilize it? There's be very practical. Okay, bottom line, we feel this is where the world should go. This would be good for me and for us and for the world, because of my worldview. I would love for people to go in this direction. It's fun. It would be cool. Like literally, some of these people have actually been interviewed, and this is what they're saying. Oh, I like when they show their hand, like some of them do sometimes. So, and then again, it's always looking back in the mirror, like how are we just the same way? How are we doing that? How are we scheming? Trying to manipulate things to get our way in our life and in the world. And we have to take a look at that, of course. So I want you to be aware again of your own consciousness and where you're going, and that there is consciousness out there that shows up as other people that are saying, here, we got this whole system. We can filter these ideas through the universities. Then the doctors go out in the world and then they'll prescribe, these things, or we go to the media, we tell them that we own or influence completely. Here, run with these types of stories. Now you'll find like the counter narrative is that, oh no, these places are independent. These people have come out and said that's. But for every one of those, there's somebody that says, no, I was given stories. I was told what to say. I was influenced either directly or indirectly. And so, you believe who you want to believe, but there's a lot of undercover, stuff. People are trying to debunk it because the real truth doesn't want to get out. But yeah, basically there is this going on. There's evidence for it. There's people on record saying this is how it works that are in the industry. And maybe are out of it now, not just one person or something, right? Like there's plenty of them. And so we're all aware of these sorts of things, right? And you could still believe, like, I still think they're basically trying to just help people. But they're looking for ratings, right? So when they look for ratings, and look how badly they're doing. So maybe that's showing people don't trust them. But anyway, my point is they utilize universities, they fund, they and fact check me if you want to. That's fine. I'm good with that for sure. But they utilize that. They utilize the media. They utilize their ability to give money to politicians. They utilize the ability to influence the courts. They utilize like all, governments, other companies, so they've got access to influence companies based on investments into them as well. So they pretty much have this very broad scope ability to shape things. And there's a groupthink within those that are so-called in power, the powers that be. The so-called powers to be, and I'll get into more of that in a minute, why I call them that. So you have, all that going on. And you hear things that are put out by mainstream news, which even if people aren't watching, still turns the head of all the independent people, because they're constantly talking about what the mainstream media said. Oh, mainstream media said that. What a bunch of BS. But they're getting people stirred still, right? So they're still winning. They're still winning their little game. That vibration is still winning the game. Oh, I'm upset about that. Thank God, this podcast is here to speak the truth, and kind of upset about that. And what are we going to do? And all that stuff. And is none of that, should we go to 0% of that? I don't know. But, it's not the most evolved vibration, is my point. It's not the most helpful place to focus. The most helpful place to focus is in your heart and above. Focus in your heart and above, meaning more the heavenly higher frequencies that we have the experience of, is up in the heavens above us, kind of thing. And those higher frequencies. So we can allow those to enter into our awareness and our bodies, to get connected with our bodies. There's a reason why we've been encouraged to get really in our heads, because when we're in our heads, we're not connected to our intuition, we're not connected to our spiritual heart, to our true heart and our deeper heart, and then we're lost. We're like, well, tell me what I should be thinking, tell me what I should be doing. Basically what happens, even when you think you've made the decision yourself, but no, you've either made a decision for or in opposition to something, in so many cases. Now, I do believe many of you are waking up. I believe many other people are waking up. If we just pull apart like all this polarization, and we just want to see through the eyes of God, through the eyes of love, what do I really see that's happening here? And realizing in our heads, we really don't know what's going on. But through the eyes of God, through the lens of higher frequency, what do we see in the situation? In love and bliss, you can see a poisonous snake or a charging lion and get out of the way. You don't have to get on the armor and get out the weapons or something to protect yourself. You don't really need that. I mean, that's why I feel perfectly good about saying, like, I don't own weapons. I don't. Arm yourself. Like, people have bought guns through the roof, and I think that's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. But I just, it's not, it's part of the, not anti-gun. It's just not in the way that some people are. It's not about that. It's about, like, what actually is most effective for us to operate in this world, in this life, even on an effectiveness level, not to mention like what our spiritual direction is. So our spiritual direction is to deepen in the heart, to elevate in our consciousness. And so when all these things are going on, when there's so many inputs, we need to learn to guard our consciousness. One of my first spiritual teachers, the last thing he said to me, God bless him, over 2 decades ago, last words: you've got a good consciousness now, just make sure you guard it. That was it. Never heard from him again. And he had a practice of letting go of people the minute he felt like the relationship was done. Just his practice. God bless him. To each their own. I guess that's what felt like the way for him to go. The power of it was like, I'll never forget that phrase, the thing he told me. And so I know that, I have fallen into this too, like all this polarization energy, and finding myself, whether I wanted to or not, because I've always been like Switzerland on things, because I'm like, although neutral isn't exactly what I would say it is, I will have a stand. I will feel a particular belief and come up for me, and I may stand in a certain direction, but more so, I'm standing for love, for whatever is the deepest truth and a higher frequency that wants to prevail in a situation, not for the right or wrong of any particular issue. I'm more for what is for the highest. And I don't know what that is, but I can tell you what my belief system is. I had to concretize my belief. That's easy enough. I can tell you what I believe. So on one hand, I could say, boy, let's take a hot topic thing. Let's see how evolved you are. So let's say I'm like, I'm really not, I'm pro-life. I'm not, no, abortion, forget about that. That's bad. If I got in my head and I was just in my head, I'd be like, oh, that could even be considered evil or something. And I'd say, yeah, after about maybe 4 weeks or something, that's it, no abortions. And I could say I have a belief like that. And quite frankly, not in all cases, but like overall, as overall arching principle, probably lean in that sort of direction. But does that mean those that are pregnant, women that are pregnant and, fourth month comes up and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't have this baby. That's it. And wants to get an abortion, that I'm saying, like, I literally would I literally would do everything I could do to make sure that doesn't happen, because it's murder, and then call it murder. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to tell somebody that I think they're committing, whatever. Like, see, and just notice if you're triggered, if you have a lot of energy coming through. I get it. Like, if you've been in that place and had made those decisions or be in that situation, I get it. Okay. And my love to you. Okay. But I'm using a hot topic button issue just to show you I might have a mental opinion, but it doesn't mean that I believe what I believe is absolute truth. I don't know. But if somebody forces me to vote on it or to come up with a position, then, or if that's what society needs, if that's even true, then, I would come up with that idea. But, this is where the idea of no governments and, the Imagine song is really beautiful, because what if people just had the ability to, more of an ability at least, maybe there needs to be guardrails in society, but, and it's just a maybe, but what if people just have more ability to make their own choice, whether it's right or wrong, and that we get to just be more present, is a divine mandate, that we're in an enlightened society where we wouldn't even feel the need to control any of it, because people are going to be making choices by and large that are based on what they feel is their truth deep down inside. And that's sufficient. And if there's murderers still, then what can we do to raise consciousness, rather than how can we imprison them and do what we're calling reform, right? So now hopefully that's making sense now. Like, so this is what we're pointing to, I want to say, that the team, the light team. So anyway, so this is where, I take a hot topic button like I just did, a couple of them actually, I referred to there for a moment, and just to say, like, a border, okay, let's go to borders too. Hot topic button. Some people are saying it's all love, just let them all in, right? Well, I was born as a Republican conservative person, like born into that family and that mindset. Well, hell, they need to earn their way in the country, and blah, 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 blah. I could say I'm for max protection, baby. Put that wall up. I could definitely say, like, that is 100%. Like, if I had to come up with a belief system, I'd say that's it. That's my stand, no matter what. Faster that wall goes up, the better. Less people coming in, better. Then my heart of compassion could say, there's a reason why all these people want to rush in here, and it's not all manufactured or whatever. There's a lot of ideas about it. Most of those people are just desperate to get support and help in life. So it is my vibe on it. So partly I'm like, no, let them come in. Let's serve them, right? So if we didn't have laws and all this stuff, but we were enlightened society, I believe we would intermix, freely, or more freely at least. And it wouldn't be, all this, well, we got to keep them out. No, got to let them all in. We wouldn't even have to be in the polarity, right? So yeah, and it could be more in a place of what does source say? Because our only salvation is from source, and therefore connects you to love and above, right? In our heart, what's the truth? Let our hearts speak on the issues. Often when people are coming up with angry stands, then they're in anger. That's another one of the vibrations, lower vibration. Should we never get angry? No, I'm not saying like we're throwing out all the lower vibration entirely, but it's like we have to watch like where we're at, and we always want to bring our vibration up. That's the direction, right? We want to be in a light and awakened society, or you wouldn't be listening in. Unless you want to oppose me and some kind of deal like that. But like if you're a listener, like, and you enjoy this type of information I share here and energy, like you're here to gain something from that. So a lot of people that I'm connected with are spiritually oriented, also are like, I don't want to look at the news, I don't even want to hear about any of that stuff. So yes, I agree with you, let's not even focus on that. And I appreciate people doing that. I've been like that. I'm not saying I am like that right now. I do pay attention to news stories that are coming out. But when I do look at them, I'm looking for, out of curiosity, to look through the lens of my heart and my soul, as well as my enlightened mind, to just be curious and just to investigate like all the perspectives and come up with my own belief, if I even have one, come up with my own belief if I even have one. I don't need one. I don't believe I actually always need a belief about everything, right? I can just be like, I don't know. This is what seems to be happening. But we give a lot of fuel to what's going on sometimes by saying what's going on, doubling down on the story, and then we amplify that story, and then we tend to create more of it, right? What we're talking about is happening more. And so when we have a news cycle that says this and this is happening in the world, and we're like, this is what's happening in the world, everybody's saying this is happening in the world, it becomes metaphysically a reality more and more so. So when we say, well, this problem, whatever it is, fill in the blank, this is a real problem, we need to solve. Well, that's what people keep repeating instead of saying, boy, I'm so grateful that we have an enlightened society and people are coming and going freely into all the lands of all the world, and everyone's seen as a brother and sister, full of. Amen. And that's the reality we're tuned into. That's what we're saying, that is the story. That's the news. Everything else is just something that happened. It just keeps being repeated and it becomes the reality. Like it could happen just literally once. What if the minute Cain murdered Abel, killed Abel in the Bible, all anybody ever talked about forever was, yeah, like there's barely anybody on the planet. Like what people do is they just murder each other. That's all that happens. That's the story. And what would we see? Like there'd be tons of murders. Like there'd be more of it. Like that would be the basis of society. There'd be constant murdering of each other because that's all we keep talking about. We just keep focusing on it. And I know like people say, yeah, but you can focus on it towards solutions. Yes. But when you come up with a solution, it's just like with in my opinion, okay, it's definitely, again, I'm open to hear your opinions, your ideas and concepts, or your downloads, whatever, all of it. But the minute you think you've got it solved, it just comes back again anyway, right? And there's this sort of wheel of life within these vibrations. So, but as we raise up in vibration, yes, the lower vibration here on this plane will probably just keep showing up anyway, but it can be largely mitigated. And it is possible, potentially, who knows, who am I to say? It is possible to eliminate, the vast majority of the challenges that humanity faces in terms of like them experiencing things as challenges, but to have like childlike wonder, to live in your heart, to live in love and bliss and unity and peace and joy and fulfillment, that we can be that. We can choose to do that right now. And when we hear stories, we can say, just get silent, still feel in our heart, and just bring love, bring prayers to it. And yes, if there's something specific for us to take action on, absolutely. If your guidance, your spiritual direction is to do something, then you do it. I mean, it's that simple. There doesn't need to be guilt and shame and guilt and shame everybody to get on the right tracks, and then that'll work. That's all that low frequency stuff, guys. And I know, like, somebody, even if it's one person, is probably going to listen to this podcast and say, oh, guilt and shame have a good place in society. And if we didn't have that, that'd be a problem. We don't need to live in it, though. We don't need to keep dwelling in that space to have people live out of that place, right? We're all beautiful children of God. If you resonate with Jesus, say amen. All right. You don't need to, but if you do, say amen. If you resonate with Jesus, what would Jesus say? Jesus would say that, we are all precious, all precious. We're all, the song said as kids, many of us were, kids when this was a popular song. I don't know if it's popular anymore, that we're all precious as in a sight. And they say, whatever, black, yellow, white, whatever. I don't know. I don't remember how that part, but we're all precious in his sight. That's what will be said. But if we keep screaming racism all the time, I really don't think that's a solution, personally. It's not my truth. It's not what I feel deep down in my core of my being, that's the way to shift things. If you keep saying racism, you're going to find racism everywhere. If you keep saying we're all precious in sources, sites. We're all the beautiful children of God. And man, look how much love there is in the world. Look at how much awesome things are happening. And we focus on that. Great. But so many of us keep giving energy to the lower vibrations. So then you have media channels all over the place, podcasts and the mainstream media that just keeps bringing us more of the same. So I'm here to say, like, I'm looking to, decondition myself more. I'm looking to be more free of being, trained to those vibrations. I'm looking to go more and more to love and above than ever before. And I just think it's like when things have gotten more intense, like more and more people are finding themselves wanting to dip down into these lower frequencies. So I'm just here to say, we don't need to, we don't have to. No matter how intense it gets, and the intensity is actually asking us to raise in consciousness, not to descend and go to the lower stuff and stay there. Okay, that's the main thing. I have some cards to lighten the mood a little bit around all this, and to help us to go to love and above as well. I want to just share a few things with Jesus. Like, I have, Doreen Virtue is a full-fledged, I guess, Christian now, and she disavows all her past work. I don't know, I feel called to just share that with you. But she still has her cards out there, and probably the one deck that she has a belief in is this I think this is her last deck, the Loving Words from Jesus, Doreen Virtue deck. And so I pulled a card here while I was talking with you, and it's Matthew 7:7. By the way, I love the Bible. I don't believe in everything that's in the Bible because I think it's been distorted, blah, blah, blah. But I love these things from the Bible. Seek and you shall find. Seek and you shall find. Now, seeking has gotten a bad rap because, if you seek, you're seeking, you're just seeking. I'm seeking, you're constantly seeking, then you're just seeking, right? Seek, and you shall find. So for me, seeking that's being pointed to here, if we feel into it deeper, is let's look for it. That's there, it's always there because everything is here already. So the enlightened world we're looking for is already here. You think it's in the future, time frame, then you'll never experience it. But it's always in the future. Then it's here now, and if it can't be here now, then it'll never be here. Wait a minute, how does that make sense? I've got a broken leg right now. Let's say you had a broken leg or some ailment or something, but isn't that real? Well, the minute you start realizing that there was an experience or a story that got wrapped up in an experience and it's already passed and actually you're healed, you'll be fine. Like, I got ran over by a trailer as a kid, and I had minimal energy injuries. I think it's partly because I was in a transcendent state. I was bracked up, don't get me wrong, but given what happened, very minimally, and you know, I believe it's because of a transcendent state where I wasn't in belief systems that when this happens and it means that, in that situation, like I was transcended. I was transcendent, so I didn't experience that. I didn't have these horrible disabilities or horrific injuries from it. Not even really the hairline fracture, is the best they could find in one of my legs. That's it. Seeking you shall find. Seeking you shall find. If you look for the frequency inside yourself, you'll find it. If you seek the infinite source within, you'll find it right away. Everybody knows the technologies now, right? There's always new thing. Now do it this way, do it that way to get connected or whatever. But we all know. It's not that we don't know, it's we need to apply it now. And I'm always happy to be reminded, though, right? Myself, and to be a reminder here on this show, on this podcast. So seek and you shall find. So that one came through. So that wanted to come through. I'm going to maybe pull one or two more, and then perhaps I'll do a channel message from Jesus briefly, and we'll be complete for today. Yeah, this one's really getting my attention. This backside. Ask and it shall be given you. Ask and it shall be given you. Again, it's Matthew 7. It's all right there. Ask and it shall be given you. Now, oh, could you please give it to me? Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Not usually. I mean, yeah, ask another human, maybe it'll work that way. It's more like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Like matter of fact, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm desiring right now, or this, not even desiring necessarily, but like, it's hard. These words are tricky because desires can be a sticky one, but you might have also we'll call it like a true desire, an authentic desire, but we have a natural impulse to ask for something. We ask by just saying, hey, yeah, I'd like that. It's as though when you get an idea to want something, the universe is like, you saw it on the universe's buffet table, and you just says, "Oh, I'll have that." They say off the menu, but it's so simple. It's just like, oh, there it is. Okay, I'll just have. It's like the buffet's right there. You just take it. You don't even need the waiter. I mean, it's just right there. It is okay. I'll have it, and it comes right to you. Comes right to you. Yeah, you've got to reach down and grab the food, right? So there's this mind's like, oh, it's taking too long already. I got to reach down and get it. It's not in my mouth yet. Once it's your mouth, it's like, I don't know, I'm not tasting it enough yet. And then after it goes down your throat, you're like, man, I don't even know if I enjoyed that meal. I'm gonna have to eat some more to see if I can get the taste. And you go to eat it again, and it's like, I don't know, it's still not. I don't know, it's kind of tasty, but I don't know if it's satisfying me. And then eat more and more and more. But if you were just present with every bite, you would be satisfied instantly. You would require nothing else. You might eat more, but you wouldn't eat as much as you do when you're unconscious, right? So that's a bonus extra tip, right? Ask and it's given to you. Just a reminder. Let's just do one more. Let's see what else comes through. And all these things happen far more easily at love and above. There's such grace and ease. You can manifest all kinds of things out of a lower vibration. You can do it. You can make it happen. I've done it. You've done it. Many of you listening, you've done it from the low vibration. How'd you feel at the end? Right? Still in the low vibration. How did you feel? What consequence did you have in your health, your finances, your relationship, etc.? What happened? Yeah, right. That's so great. That's such a great feeling. But what happens when we manifest it, love it above? It's all gravy. The thing that happened is just gravy. It's like I'm already having a great time, and it just adds to my sense of my delight. But not by 1,000 units, because if you're already operating at a high level, it's not really raising you up that much more. It's not massive. It's just like, whoa, I'm extra delighted. But you're already at love and above. So It's just like a nice, it's extras. It's like, oh, so that's why someone like Eckhart Tolle will say, if you listen to him, he'll say like, oh, I'd be happy living out of a car still. But he's a little more happy with the life he has now. Now he doesn't say it that way, but he says, well, it'd be okay. I'd be fine. Still be delightful. But, it just adds a little bit. I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of prefer this, so it's more in that direction. Okay, what else do we got? Okay, this is a frequency one. Peace be unto you. I haven't even been showing these cards. If you're watching the video, you can see this. This is a beautiful one right here. So you may not be able to read the phrase, so I'll read it. So peace be unto you, as my Father hath sent me. John 20:21. Peace be unto you, as my Father hath sent me. Now, there's a lot of different ideas. I've got one more card I'll share, and then we'll cap it off after that one. There's one more that just popped out. So there's a lot for me. Again, Jesus is who knows? Like it's beyond words. What does Jesus really represent? I suppose you could take it all the way down. If you get in your brain about it, you could be like, well, Jesus is just some another spiritual guide, healer, and there's nothing too special about him really, because there's other people that could do the same things throughout history, done similar things, miracles, healing, whatever. He's just another yogi or whatever, something like that. And just a lot of press. He just got the press, or whatever, and just manipulation, whatever. The churches used him, whatever. Certain people used him. Okay. But there's a frequency in Jesus that's authentic, that's clear, that's love and above. And so that's what I'm into. I'm not into all those other concepts about him. And then this thing about the Father, can be triggering too. Like, well, who cares? Just forget about it. Like, just take in the good. Take in the good. I mean, just take in the good. So when it says, my Father has sent you, okay, source sent you, whatever, but something has sent you. Something has sent you. And when I hear him say the Father, for me, I translate that brought you into the physical, like delivered you, like impregnating the infinite, soup of life, and materialize you into a human with a soul here on earth. That's what I get by the Father. My Father has sent you into this form. So be at peace. In other words, remember where you emanate from. You emanate from love and peace and beyond. That's what that means for me. It means something else for you, let me know. Maybe there's gonna be two more cards real quick. So we've got with these beautiful kids here. Okay, and it says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they'll be called the children of God. We're called to be at peace. That's one of those higher frequencies, right? So, okay, one more. Love one another as I have loved you. Love one another as I have loved you. We feel the love in the Sacred Heart. Some of you don't, have disconnects with Jesus, maybe. Some of you just really connected with it, right? And either way, like, you have this connection. If you connect with Jesus, you feel, we'll say his love inside you. You feel that. And where do you feel it? Usually it's in people's hearts, the Sacred Heart. You can feel that love. And so you're being loved right now. It's not like I loved you, then I left, and now I'm just, sitting on the throne up in heaven and waiting to see if you guys are going to get it right. Like him and the anthropomorphic God. No, he lives eternally within you. As so does every other being in this walk, the earth, etc. Like, they're all there, all within your field, at least within your awareness. And he lives in your heart. That's the transmission he is. He impregnated the field with love, and in an embodied way, in this deep embodied way. Not that it never existed before at all, but he awoke in something inside of us for those of us that needed that. Yeah, there's different teachers, there's different beings that come at different times. And so that love that's so natural, it's so instant and automatic that you feel in your sacred heart and you feel connected with Jesus, let's say. I'm just going to assume that at this point, if you're connected with that, you're loved and you are to just let that love emanate through you. Let Jesus' love to emanate through your heart, or the love of the Sacred Heart, if that works better for you. Emanate through, connect with the field of love everywhere, even with those that you're being taught to judge or hate. Like, no, the unified field of love, and the solutions come from that space. And I could keep pulling cards because it's fun. But anyway, let's see. Let me get a quick message from Jesus. I'm getting out to do that just a second. So one more thing. So to sum up what I've been saying, and then I'll do the channel message, then we'll wrap the show, is you're being called to completely let go, to completely surrender, to completely go to the deepest possible connection in your heart, in your soul with Source. You're meant to become sovereign. You're meant to become sovereign in Source. People say, well, your sovereignty ends where my nose begins or something like that. You're sovereign in Source, and so is everyone else. You're infinitely connected. You're infinitely protected. There is no, whatever that can get you when you're connected. You're really connected. And even if you so-called got something, energetically, physically, whatever, on any levels, it can easily be dissolved in the deeper space. At least that's your potential. When you surrender and come back home, all is available. Definitely at love and above. So they did these measurements before, by the way. They measured Jesus out at the highest level and put him at 1,000 apparently. So what a great guide for so many of us. And something else resonates more for you, I always encourage people to go for that then. Doesn't matter. It's what you're guided to and towards and for right now. Okay, so yeah, quick channel message from Jesus. Give your heart to that which comes upon the shore of your awareness. Give way to the boundless spirit within. Already trusts, already knows the ways of this life and the deep simplicity of the beingness that you're being called into within the storm, within the darkness, that you're raising up into the light. You're coming back home. And you're guiding others to do the same. Unified in the hearts, always. Come back home. See above the appearances in the world and the stories of the world. Bring the good word to all those that you meet. It can be a simple connection in the heart, a simple phrase or word that you transmit. Let it be simple. Let it be easy. enjoy your boundless nature in this simplicity. All my love to all of you. Namaste. Okay. Grateful to share this with you. I always say I'm channeling from my heart the energy of Jesus, and you don't have to get too caught up in your mind if your mind wants to get involved. Is that actually Jesus or whatever? Like, it's kind of a wild idea anyway, because we're also boundless. I'm just channeling from his frequency. Okay, everybody. I was grateful to share this with you. I believe this is the answer to our world's prayers. What I've been talking about today, and practice is to live from your sacred heart. How do you do that? You focus. It's a focus thing. You focus upon it. You go into meditation and connect with the heart. The more heart resonance we have, the more the world is a miracle sphere where everything's possible. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in awareness. Okay, everybody. All right, so grateful to share with you today. Keep on tuning in. Like I always say, just keep on tuning, keep coming back for more of this goodness. And yeah, if you're inspired, yes, take advantage of any of the links we have below to connect with me further. Also with more energy with Jesus through any links we have for that below. And you can always go to yoursacredpurpose.com to connect with me further as well. All right. Anyway, I wanted to just leave it there with you. And as I always say, is keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time. Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.